Welcome to Underwater CSI International Revealed. I'm your host, Senior Investigator Rich Morin, and with me, as always, is
I'm the co host, Senior Investigator Ed Myron. Well, Rich, this is going to be a fun, great show as usual, but some exciting stuff because we just got back from Bonaire.
yeah, we went down for a week down in Bonaire and had a great time.
Yeah,
Um, one of the things I did prior to going down is there's a site called Bonaire for Divers that's out there on Facebook. Great site, a lot of good people on there. And what we did is we were letting people know that we were going to be on Bonaire
right.
for the week, and if they saw us on island, if we were on site at a dive site recording and stuff, stop by and say hi. Or if they saw us, walking around the resort or anywhere on island, stop and say hi. And boy, did they ever.
Yeah,
We posted it on our Facebook page also, on the multiple ones that we have and, the different social media sites. And we got inundated. I mean,
it
it was
was
just,
great. It was
yeah,
like we
it
were
was
rock stars.
It was absolutely fantastic, and we appreciated everybody that stopped by. I mean, greatly appreciated it.
Yeah,
But it got to a point where we had to try finding some spots that we could hide, to
remote
do
areas.
the taping because we were pausing so often that a lot of times the camera was paused for so long it stopped,
Yeah,
and so we had to re-record. We did a lot of retakes
yeah,
that
we did.
week. Yeah, we
And
went down there to film. Initially, we were going to film 20 videos. And these videos are going to be for our future podcast shows. We still have to go back and look at them and edit them down and stuff. So it's going to be a while before they're out. But what we plan on doing is, as we're running our regular podcast show, we're going to take a break, and it's going to be called Tips from the CSI Pros.
right,
And so, over the years, over the 40 plus years we've been doing this, and just to let everybody know, between Ed and I, we have a combined dive experience of 91 years and tens of thousands of dives under our belts.
you
But
look like you have 91 years under your belt.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say Ed's got 89 of those years, and I'm a newbie.
Yeah, right.
I got certified 2 years ago. No, but between us, we had 91 years of diving experience.
Yeah,
So a long time. And, on island, it felt a little weird because I even told you at one time, I said, you know what? We're the old guys now.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're no longer the young guys. We've been going to Bonaire for years and years and years, decades. I think the early 80s,
Yeah,
first time. But anyway, um, when we got to the airport, everything went smooth, and we we got on the bus. The shuttle bus heading over to our resort. We stayed at Buddy Dive, and
met some
you
super
know,
people on the bus.
yeah,
Yeah,
there weren't a lot of people on the bus. We had a smaller bus,
right,
but the people that were on there were just great. We ran into them quite a few times, either on island or at the resort.
right.
And man, some good people. We had
Yeah,
a good time. Now, when we weren't at a dive site and we were actually like downtown or we were someplace else, restaurant or whatever, we did have a chance to meet again. A lot of people came up to us,
right.
and we did manage to take selfies. So we'll share that with some of you. We can't share them all. I mean, we took so many pictures, but we'll share some of the ones, and we already posted a lot of them online.
Right.
But we'll bring it up again on the show here.
Yeah.
But we
It
just met
was
some great people all week long.
yeah, and it was great to we're down on the dock, right? Yeah, at Buddy Dive and people are coming up to us talking to us about, "Oh, what are you here for? Is there a case? Are you on something that so we kind of had to explain to them, we were there to, a little bit of business doing our videos, but we were also there to do some diving as well.
Yeah, I mean, it started at the front desk when we went to check in.
Right.
We got up to the front desk, and all of a sudden the girl looks up. She goes, "Can I help you?" And then she paused, and she goes, "Wait a minute, you're the
You're
CSI
serious.
guys." So because we had mentioned we were going to Buddy Dive Resort,
Right.
they had already put it around to all their staff. So, when we went to the dive operation, I mean, it was like, hey, you're the CSI guys. Martin, the manager, who took over for Augusto, same thing comes up, and he says, hey, you're the CSI guys. Then he stopped and he's looking at me going, I know you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Super
I was
great
like, I
guy.
hope so. It's been
Super
our,
great guy.
it's our 30th trip to Highland,
Yeah,
but we hadn't been there in 8 years.
right.
And boy, I couldn't believe the
The amount of growth.
development. Yeah, the
Yeah,
amount of growth that's on
yeah.
Island. A lot of new restaurants, some new resorts. Look like an event center, all kinds of stuff. A lot of new houses, etc.
Yep.
But so it was good. We had a great time. But the first day we're there, we got there kind of like a little bit later in the afternoon, and you were out on the patio getting equipment set up for recording and stuff, and we we what'd you do
Mhm.
there, bud?
Let me get into the pictures here.
Yeah, and right here, Carl on the right hand side with the gray T-shirt on. Carl was walking by. I was inside bringing more equipment out, and all of a sudden I hear,
Hey,
hello, hello. I hear the two of you say hello to each other,
right.
and then what happens?
Then he says, "Hey, wait a minute. You're one of those CSI guys, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he yells over to his buddy, "Hey, Brian, here they are right here. Here's the CSI guys." So,
Yeah, I could hear Brian going, "What?" He's like,
yeah,
"Brian, come here. You gotta come here. Come here."
yeah.
He's like,
So
"What?"
so
He goes,
Brian was extremely excited, so he came over and here we are in the group shot right here. Right outside. It's right outside our room.
"Yeah, we were just on the patio right there, and
Yeah, right there.
Carl was walking by on the sidewalk, and I think we're actually standing on the sidewalk right there.
Yeah,
But it's like, let's get a group shot of you."
yeah,
And I'll tell you, two great guys. We stood around, and I mean, it was like we'd known them all our lives,
yeah,
telling stories. We're all laughing. We just had a great time.
yeah. It
But
was awesome.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. But
Let's see
you
who's
know,
next.
what's that?
Let's see who's next.
All right, yeah, let's pull up another one.
This is at breakfast.
Yeah, this was
Yeah,
at Buddy Dive at their breakfast buffet, which I absolutely love.
yeah. It was.
But
It's awesome.
this is a great family. They're missing one family member who was still sleeping, but that's Patrick and Back and Kelly, his wife, and then their daughter Evelyn, but she likes to be called, she goes by Ev. And then they have a son, Gavin, which I think we have another picture
Yep, we
a
have a
little bit
picture of
later
him. Yep.
on. But I tell you, they so much fun. They're so bubbly, full of energy. Ev is just an intelligent young woman. And it made me feel good because it's like, we're going to be in good hands. With people like that, our country's going to be in good hands
Yeah.
because she's just a fantastic teenager.
Yep.
But we
They
met them
enjoy.
quite a few times at breakfast, and they always stop by, always smiles on their face, and it was fun. Good family,
Yep.
real
And
good family, good values.
they enjoyed diving there. They had a lot of good times as far as all the dives that they went on. So every time we'd see them, especially at breakfast, they'd stop by. We'd chat a little bit about the dives and where they were heading next.
Yeah.
Let's
All right. Why
see.
don't you go to another one?
We'll find their son here. I think he's next. Yep, here he is.
Oh yeah, there's Gavin. That's their son.
This is at dinner.
Um, yeah, dinner time.
Yep.
Gavin was an incredible kid to talk to. He just got done with a internship at NASA,
Yeah.
not Nassau, Bahamas, but NASA, for the space program. He's going to school to become an engineer, and he's going back to complete his internship there. I guess he's got to go back two more times if I'm not mistaken. But again, sharp kid,
Yeah.
and they say that they have 95% higher rate for people that complete the full internship. So
Yeah.
we got our fingers crossed for Gavin. He's kind of telling us some of the stuff that he was doing there, and just lit right up. I mean,
Yeah. He was.
he's going to do well.
Yeah. He
You know,
was very excited about it.
yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
whole
Smart
family
kid.
was just excellent.
He, he was
But
telling us some of the stuff, and we were like, "Yeah, okay."
yeah, right over my head. I had to ask him, so how's the food there?
Yeah, yeah. So, what's the weather like? Because he started talking about some of that stuff that he was doing, and I was like, "Okay, well,
I had to
so
look
it,
at him for a second and go, wait a second. Me, human,
yeah, yeah." He-
diver.
Yeah.
But
Investigator.
yeah,
Yeah.
but just
Yeah.
so knowledgeable and just so much energy. Both him and his sister Ev,
Yeah.
both of them just extremely knowledgeable kids.
Yeah. It was fun. Let's see who we
But
got next coming up.
oh, this is Esther and Elias right here,
Yeah. Yep.
and they were on the no, they weren't on the
No,
bus
they
with
weren't.
us.
They were. So
They
we
went to
met
Captain
them when we
Don's.
were checking in. They were up. They were up front. When we were checking in, and we were waiting for our room in our truck, and we started talking to them up on the porch.
I thought they stayed at Captain Don's.
Maybe they were coming over. I thought they were there at Buddy Dive.
Yeah, I no, I think we ran into them at the airport originally on the way down.
Oh, okay, yeah, maybe
Yeah,
that. There
I
were
think
so many
that's.
people
Yeah, I
that
know.
we talked.
Yeah, it was a
It,
lot.
it's hard to remember if we met them at the airport, at Buddy Dive, in town, or
Even at the gate when we were flying,
right.
we had our CSI shirts on, but a lot of people at the gate coming up to us, or we could hear, those are the CSI
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
But yeah,
Staff,
we were talking to them at the airport,
right.
up in JFK
Yeah.
for the flight
Okay,
down.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
but again, just a great couple. I think they lived in the city, if I'm not mistaken, right in
I
New York
think so.
City.
Yeah, and they
Yeah,
do a lot of diving.
yeah.
Yep.
Traveled around. I think they were recently in Indonesia also,
Yeah.
but they said it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But then we saw them at the end of the week also,
Yep.
and talking about their dive experiences and stuff. Again, big smiles on their faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
they
else we got?
really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Let's see who we got next.
Oh, this is Brian Doverspike, who's in the back there with the blue T-shirt on.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, he saw the promo that we had online first, and he actually made a comment on it, about I hope I run into these guys. And then, sure enough, lo and behold, we saw him. We
Yep.
saw him out walking around, and he comes walking up to me, and I look at him and I go, Brian, and he
Exactly.
goes, yeah, Rich. Yeah, it's like, yeah. So it was great. We hung out with him for quite a while and just, had a good talk and everything. And he's like, I'd really like you to meet the rest of the group. And so we were like, yeah, so I don't know if it was that day or I think it was
No, it was
another
a
day
couple
or
days
something.
later.
Yeah, a couple days later or something. We set up a
Yep.
time to meet the rest of their group.
Yep.
And in front of me, that's Tim, so to the far left side.
Yep.
Um, Next to me, my left shoulder is Brian, and in front of
Yep.
him is
Right
his
here.
wife Becky.
Yep.
And then the lady next to you that's holding onto your arm there,
Yep.
that's Linda.
Yep.
And in back are the two Joes,
The
father and
two
son.
Joes.
Yep, the two Joes that are in the back.
Yep.
And man, we had a lot of fun talking with these folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And
Again,
Joe
we met.
Sr. in the back. I'm sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead, Ed.
Go. No, go ahead.
Joe Sr. in the back was a relatively newer diver, and again, some jitters at first, but the group got him calmed down and he ended up having a great week.
Yeah. And again,
Yep.
we met so many great people. I mean, and again, we couldn't share all the photos. And a lot of times we didn't even have our phones with us.
Yeah.
Especially when we were out on site.
And Brian, if you're listening to the show, I want to apologize because I know you said you wanted to get together later in the week and just kind of maybe sit out by the pool or something and listen to some of the stories and just share stories amongst you and we just ran out of time, buddy. So I do apologize for that.
Yeah.
What else we got? It.
All right, let's see who else we have. Who's next in the lineup? Whoa.
Oh, this was
Oh,
Cactus Blue at the
yeah.
Cactus Blue food truck / trailer.
Yep.
That's Chef Tham, who's poking her head out, and that's her fiance Harry. He's the host. Basically, takes the orders and stuff like that out front and get your drinks and get you all set up and everything.
Great
But
food.
you can see the little tip jar behind Harry, and it says, "Please, help us with our wedding." So We put
We
some
helped
money
pay
in it.
for
So
his
then I
wedding.
told him, I said, so now we can say we help pay for your wedding. It's like,
Exactly.
absolutely. But whenever on island, we always got to stop by the Cactus Blue Truck. They got excellent food.
Yeah, it
I think
was
we each
great.
had burgers this time, right?
Yeah, we each had burgers. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, absolutely delicious.
Yep. And he
Well,
always has a line. There's always a line of people.
yeah, I mean, we were there 2 o'clock in the afternoon. They close at 3,
Right.
and there were 4 people in front of us. And then after we got our food and we sat down, there must have been another 10 people in line.
Oh yeah, easy. And
Yeah,
there were still people pulling up along the roadside and saying, okay, he's still open. Let's go. Hurry up.
yeah,
Let's go.
yeah.
Yeah. So it
But
was great
I know
food.
somebody responded on site on the Bonaire for Divers site, to make sure and stop by Cactus Blue, and I responded back, always do.
Yeah.
I've been going there for years. When they had the old owners and stuff. But
Yep. And now we're
what
part
else?
of the wedding.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's great.
Yeah,
I hope we get an honorable mention at least at the wedding.
I know. What else we got, bud?
All right, let's see who else we got here.
Kind of upset
What
we didn't get be asked to be ushers.
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
What happened to my mouse? There we go.
Oh, these folks right here. This is Cliff and Marie. They're from Maine, and they're actually from upstate Maine, and they live on an island up there. But very avid divers.
Yeah.
So much fun to talk to. We actually talked to them a couple times,
Again
and
at breakfast
yeah,
because the
Cliff kind of
breakfast are
started it off. He kind of went by, and some dry humor there, and something about what is that table reserved for you guys?
yeah,
Because we sat at the same
because
table
we were
pretty
at the
much
same table
every morning, except one morning.
except one morning.
Yeah,
Yeah.
someone else was there. He came walking by, and we were like, surprise, we're at a different table.
Yeah.
But
And
they were a lot of fun.
that's actually when we took this picture. It was that same day.
Oh, that same day, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because we saw them quite a few times, and always had
yeah,
opportunity to just stop by the table and just chat with them a little bit.
yeah,
But again, big smiles. I mean, they were just so much fun to talk to.
yeah. And they just love diving.
Yeah, this is Denise and Andy. Andy was actually the first person that we got to JFK early. I think we were probably about the third and fourth person there
Yeah,
at the gate area. And then Andy and Denise showed up, and Andy kept looking at us, and he walked by once or twice, and we finally started a conversation, and just he's like, yeah, he goes, you're the CSI guys, and I saw your posts and stuff. So we had a real nice time. We talked for quite a while, and then at the airport when we were leaving Bonaire, we saw him again, and had a chance to talk a little bit more and stuff. But let me tell you about this couple. They're there for a week in Bonaire, and they go ahead and they donate 3 of their days to work with the animal shelter Bonaire
hmm
to volunteer. And they were telling us all about it, and we just want to give a shout out to them, a nonprofit. But they're in dire need of donations. You can go online to Animal Shelter Bonaire, pull it up and stuff, and if you got a little extra coin in your pocket, maybe reach out and send them a donation.
yeah,
They've got a lot of animals that they take care of. Um, it's I believe it's a no-kill shelter, so they're doing their best, to get it done, and with great people like Andy and Denise volunteering their time to help out. Certainly a big kudos to them
yeah.
taking time out of their vacation to do that.
Yep, they actually took the dogs out and went for a walk and take them out, walk them around and things like that. So the dog, so that
And I
they're able to
forgot
get
how many
outside.
cats they said were there.
Yeah. Yep.
Remember how many
Cats.
cats?
I don't remember.
There was a lot of cats.
Right.
But anyway, good people, um, volunteer their services for a great cause, Animal Shelter Bonaire.
Yep.
Go to their website. And hopefully, like I said, you got a little extra coin that you can spare. They can certainly use it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But Hey, there's Haley.
There she is.
Let me tell you, this young
She was
lady,
on the bus.
yeah, she was on the bus with us there
Yep.
and back. And then we saw her around the resort periodically. We also met her mom and
Yep.
her mom's boyfriend, or I don't know if it's a fiance or not, but her mom is Lisa, and Joey is the mom's boyfriend. But let me tell you, Haley is just so full of positive energy. She
Yep.
lives in New York City now, moved there from, I think it was Alabama, right?
Yep.
Mistaken. I think her mom still lives there in
Yep.
Alabama,
Yep.
but moved up there to be an actress.
Hmm.
And I guess she's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can see her doing real well because she has just got so much positive energy.
Yeah.
It was
For
just
sure.
amazing talking with her. We saw her quite often. We'd always say hi and chat with her a little bit. How was your day? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
But again, just another great person we met on island.
She was just a ball of energy, always, always ready to go. Again, this is at breakfast. We met a lot of people at breakfast.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to say or to take a picture with her mom and Joey, but we'll just give a shout out to all three of them. I
Sure.
hope you're listening. But Haley, and good luck with your acting career.
Yeah.
I know she's been doing some commercials and stuff like that, and doing a lot of auditions and everything. But she's gonna make it.
Yeah,
She's
she
a
is.
she's a very talented young lady.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yep.
Oh, here's the group. What a great group.
Yeah, we asked one of the servers, the girl who's on toward my right or off my left shoulder, yeah, right there,
Yep.
said, "Hey, would you mind if we got a picture with you? Because you've been great to us all weekend." And she's like, "No, not at all." So as soon as we stood up, all of a sudden, boom, all their staff start running in. We want to get in on it.
Yeah.
So we got this group shot,
She
and
actually, so you
again,
can
we just
see.
got treated so well by all
Yeah.
the staff at Buddy Dive.
Yeah.
Um, everybody seemed to recognize us and just took great care of us,
Yeah. So you
including the
see,
dive center. Man, Martin was great.
yeah.
One of our episodes, we were going over how to lace up a plastic hand buckle, and RBCs don't have plastic hand buckles. So we asked Martin if we could borrow one, and he's like, "No problem at all. Let me get you one of the new ones," and loaned us a BC so we could do the shoot.
Yep.
And it was just great. I mean, again, the whole staff on the resort was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great. But
Yeah. What else we got? It.
you could see they have earpieces in, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
a lot of the staff. So she says, we said, hey, can we get a picture? And she was like, sure, absolutely. So we go up by the bar, and she's radioing to all the other staff. The CSI guys, we're gonna have a picture. Hurry! So this is this isn't all the staff either. We could only get so many people in the
Listen,
shot.
they were packed. This was their barbecue night.
This is their barbecue night. Yeah,
Yeah, the
on
place was
Friday night.
packed.
It is right. It's crowded, and this is one of the managers. She's actually going back
The Holland.
to Holland.
Yep.
She's only there for another week or two, and she said, "Wait, I want to get in the picture."
Yeah.
So this was great. This was great.
What else we got? It.
All right, let's see.
Hey, Manuel.
There he is.
He was our server, mostly at breakfast time, but we also saw him at the bar,
Yep.
later on in the day and stuff. But he's been there. He's a staple. He's been there forever.
Yeah.
And I've known this guy for I don't know how many decades, or I should say we've known him for just decades.
Yeah, he's a great
Been there a
guy.
long, long time. Let me tell you, what a wealth of knowledge, though.
Yeah.
Manuel Quincy over at Captain Don's. I mean, you want to talk about island and culture and progress and stuff like that. These guys can tell you everything.
Yeah.
Just a great guy.
Yeah.
But
It was great
if
talking
you're
to him. Great just learning more about the island, right? And about the people.
if you're heading down to Bonaire, and you see Emmanuel, if you're going to be staying at Buddy Dive, or Quincy over at Captain Don's, just tell him that, Rich and Ed, the CSI guys, said hi.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Adrian and Will. They were on our bus also, I
Yeah,
believe.
they were on the bus.
Yeah,
Yep.
they were on a
To
bus
and
there,
from.
there
Yep.
and back.
Yep.
And then this was at the airport, I think, when we were leaving
Yep. That's at
Bonaire,
the
but we
airport.
saw
Yep.
them there. and we were chatting for quite a while again. Will is very um, techno savvy, and
Yeah.
so he was kind of giving us a lot of tips and suggestions. Some of it was going right over my head. You're more of a computer guy than I am, but just trying to help us out a lot.
Yeah.
And then Adrian, I mean, again, just all smiles. They had a great week,
Yeah.
and it was fun.
Yeah.
It was
They
a lot of
enjoyed
fun.
it a lot.
We had a good time.
Yeah.
I think that's all we're showing for tonight on those pictures, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's
And
talk about
again,
some of the short videos.
yeah.
Like I said, we were planning on doing 20. Two of them had to get canceled. They were going to be on the recompression chamber down there. But Dr. Lucia Rodriguez, she got called off island. She got called to Brazil. So and she was the one we wanted to interview. So we
Right.
ended up having it canceled. So hopefully it's a postponement. We can make our way down there again in the near future and
Right.
get a chance to talk to her and record the chamber and stuff like that for everybody so they get a better understanding of a recompression chamber. But give a little shout out to Dr. Rodriguez down there. She's doing a fantastic job. Um, just she's taken over the reins and just has been excelling. But so some of the shows that we've managed to get done, and again, these are going to be just short little breaks within our show called Tips from the CSI Pros, and a lot of them are based off of divers who don't dive often,
Right.
or maybe some new divers that are still a little bit shaky in their wetsuit boots, have some concerns and stuff, or for the diver that's hasn't been diving for a while and maybe they
Right.
just say, hey, just a quick little tip for them to help make things a little bit easier and safer.
Right.
And a lot of these tips, because people asked us, well, how did you determine what you're going to be showing, or shooting while you were down there? And the amount of recoveries that we've done over the years and the amount of investigations that we've done over the years is more than 700. But unfortunately, we've recovered a lot of divers over the years
Right.
who just made
Yeah.
mistakes. I
Horrible
mean, things
mistakes.
that could have been easily preventable,
Right.
easily preventable. So, or divers who have been injured. I was on a review committee for 25 years, reviewing accidents, fatalities that occur in diving, and then making recommendations to the Safety Council for diving, and whether we need to make changes with standards and stuff. But a lot of it is diver error.
Right.
The standards are already there. It's just diver error. But
Yep.
one of the short clips we did was proper way to carry tanks. So, that'll be covered in the video because, depending on what the land is like that you're walking on. I mean, it'd be easy to trip on some of the areas, especially Bonaire with
Right.
the iron shore that they have and all the dead coral and stuff like that. So we go over just some easy stuff. Proper way to carry tanks is one of them.
Yep.
I kind of mentioned a little while ago Martin Lonis at BC, because a lot of people, they don't mean to, but they unlace their cam buckle all the way and then and then can't figure out how to lace it back up.
Right.
So we go over the steps on how to lace up a cam buckle properly, and show them the actual cam portion of the buckle and
Right.
how it works and how it pinches the strap and stuff like that.
Yep.
But we also did protect your life support equipment, and that's how you have to look at this stuff as life support equipment. It's keeping you alive while you're underwater, so treat it treat it with some respect and take care of it. So what we do is we went ahead. We had Ed in his full dive gear suit out in 90-degree weather, 11 degrees from the equator, so very intense sun. And then we're filming, and then somebody would pull up and say, "Hey, are you the CSI guys?"
Yeah.
So we'd have to
Exactly.
pause. So Ed was standing around in that equipment for a long, long time. I mean,
And
probably about 2 hours, if not even
there,
longer.
there was the one time when we were getting ready to finish, and I thought, "Oh, we're we're home free." And if you remember, the truck drives by,
Yeah,
stops, turns around, drives down. I was like, no,
yeah,
okay, take 47.
yeah,
It's like, oh my God. Hey,
yeah,
are you? you're the CSI guys, right? Yeah.
Sweat's just pouring
Yeah.
down because a lot of times
Oh,
we're both in full gear,
right. Oh,
you
so you
know.
guys
But
must have
man,
just came out from diving.
yeah,
No, we're we're filming. This is sweat. So
yeah.
yeah.
But we stopped and talked to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody that stopped and
Yep.
looked over and said hi, or even if they didn't, if they just stopped and pulled up and were just kind of looking at us,
Yeah.
we'd always wave and say hi to them, and then
Yeah.
eventually they get out of the truck and come over.
Yeah. But
But
it
yeah,
was,
we had to do a lot of retakes.
yeah, it was a great time. And, like Rich said, we're going to do the CSI, the tips from the CSI pros. And, it was a great time and met so many great people. I mean, there had to be over 100 and
Well
change,
over.
well over 100
Yeah.
that we talked to and met. And, you know, it was just a great overall trip. And, I want to thank everybody that came up to talk to us. Wanted to thank the staff at Buddy Dive, and you know what a great job they did, and everywhere we went, Captain Don's and the
Even in
Cactus
town,
Brew
we went to town a couple
town.
times,
Yep,
for lunch or whatever, to go
yep,
over to Van and Twill
yep,
supermarket.
yep.
Same thing. Some people were coming up to us in the supermarket, but
Right.
like, because we were, which aisle are the Depends in?
Yeah.
But on the
Mm,
protect your life support, we're going to go over how to lay gear down properly and what not to do with your dive gear. We also went over dock entries. As far as dock entries go, you know, as you age or if you played a lot of sports, sometimes the knees hurt a little bit or you got other parts of your body or if your back's hurting, etc. We go over, I think we just went over one entry if I'm not
yeah, we did.
mistaken. Yeah,
Backward giant stride.
backwards giant stride. So, like for example, Ed ran track. I mean, very, very well-known track star way back when. And so, knees start aching a little bit. My knees are kind of shot a little bit. So the backwards giant stride entry is certainly something that's a lot easier on our bodies, getting into
Right.
the water. So that's something that we demonstrate. Um, Scuba units left unattended, standing up at a dive site or standing up at an area where there's a lot of activity on a boat, et cetera. So we go over, the hazards of that. And again, a lot of this was brought up from my 25 years on the review committee and reviewing accidents and fatalities that occur in diving. And a lot of them, I mean, hey, tank fell over and broke my toe or, broke the top of my foot or, hey, crushed this guy's regulator, et cetera.
Yeah.
So, um, that's how we did it. We also went over safe shore entries. So Bonaire's got an iron shore. So even though there's some relatively easier shore entries, some of it a little bit challenging as far as footing goes. So we
Yeah.
go over, hey, how do we get in as a buddy team? How do we help each other in and out of
Right.
the water, for safe entries and egresses? So we're going to go over that with you also. Um, we go over BCD safety equipment, what you should be carrying in your BCD pockets for safety equipment or have attached to a D-ring, et cetera. So we go over that. One of the shows also, or not shows, but short tip is going to be proper diet and hydration,
Yep.
making sure that we understand what that is prior to a dive and following a dive and in between dives, our surface intervals and stuff like that. Box jellyfish, they were coming in, I think the last day we were there. So we weren't diving. We always try to follow that 24-hour rule ourselves. But so what happens when there's jellyfish, especially on a night dive and you're trying to egress and they're all on the surface right above you.
Right.
So we go over a technique for egressing to make it safer for you to get out of the water, which greatly reduces and almost eliminates the possibility of ever getting stung.
Right.
Um, since I learned that technique many, many, many years ago, I've never had an issue as far as getting out, because they
Hey,
kind of have a tendency to hang out on the
and
surface.
they forgot to show up on Tuesday.
Yeah. One of the dive masters for Buddy Dive, Tommy, just a lot of energy, and he's given a briefing, and he's talking to people. He's like, if you're gonna do your night dives, get them in now before Tuesday because the jellyfish are coming in on Tuesday. And they showed up on Friday.
Yeah.
I think it was Friday night.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, um,
They took a wrong turn
yeah,
trying to get to Bonaire. So they,
yeah, I think they were hanging out on Climb Bonaire.
yeah, exactly.
Like, hey, wait a minute, this isn't the island.
Yeah.
We
There's
want to
no
go to that
people
one right
over
there.
here.
Yep. Um, the other one, proper ascent. Now, we're not going to go over the 5 steps as far as a proper ascent goes, but what to do once you get close to and then eventually up on the surface, and your head starts to break the surface of the water. Um, Unfortunately, this is probably where we've seen the most accidents and fatalities occur
Right.
in recreational divers. They come to the surface, the first thing they do is go, "Puh," spit their egg out or take it out and throw it away, right? Instead of keeping it right here by the side of their mouth. Then they take their mask off before they get buoyant. They get hit in the face with a wave. They start to aspirate water. They start to panic. Bicycle kick always brings you down, will not bring you back up. They're in trouble.
Yep.
All right. So we go over proper techniques for
Yep.
once you break the surface of the water.
Yep.
And again, this is stuff that we use. This is stuff that we came up with over the years of just dealing with issues. It's like, oh, because whenever we investigate something, we have to come up with recommendations also to help prevent it from happening in the future.
Right.
And like I said before, a lot of it is already standard. It's just divers are, not adhering to some of it. But the two more we did some techniques on underwater navigation because sometimes people are like, wow, especially if you go south of Kralendijk and Bonaire, and you got a longer swim out before you actually hit the reef system. So you're
Right.
swimming out for quite a ways. Well, it all starts looking alike, when you're coming back. So we give you some tips and suggestions on what to do and how to make navigation a lot easier for you
Right.
using natural navigation along with some compass work.
Yep.
So hopefully those tips will work for you. And then the last thing is options for rinsing your gear off. A
Yeah.
lot of times when a charter boat comes in or there's a big group of divers in the water on a shore dive and they're coming out, the rinse tanks are packed. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people around, there's a lot of gear in there. Sometimes gear gets picked up by mistake and ends up in someone else's locker or gear bag, et cetera, for a day or two before they realize it's not theirs.
Right.
So we just go over just a quick little other option
Yep.
that we have. But those are the ones that we managed to shoot. Like I said, we still got to review them. We pretty much just got back from Bonaire,
Yeah.
and so we got to review those and get those edited and
Yep.
make sure quality came out, etc.
Yep.
But
All
so
right.
that was about it, bud. I mean, just a
Yeah.
great trip, and
It
it was too
was.
short, too short.
Yeah. We got to figure out the next one where we can go to shoot some more video and enjoy the diving and meet some more fabulous people. You know.
Yeah. So if anybody has any recommendations, we're looking for some hot spots
Yep.
to go diving, preferably some shore diving also,
Yep.
so that we can, like I said, do some video shoots while we're there. But also, it just was a lot of fun meeting a lot of new people.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's great being a rock star now. When you're out there. Hey.
We couldn't get you through the door in the airplane on the way
No, I
home.
know. I
Yeah,
was
you had
like,
to ride up on
wait,
top.
wait. Did you want me to sign that? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think I signed something. Oh, I think it was the bill when I left. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was.
Wait, it was that much?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It was a great trip, and look forward to the next one.
Well, and again, a shout out to everybody that we met, all the
Yep.
people that are listening. We greatly appreciate you. Don't forget to like, share, and let all your diver friends know. If they're, even non-divers, they like CSI stuff.
Yep.
So this just gives them another avenue
Exactly.
for that. But anyway, thanks for listening to Underwater CSI International Revealed. I'm Senior Investigator Rich Morin.
And I'm Senior Investigator Ed Myron. Thanks
Thanks
again.
for listening, everybody. Having trouble with